Hello, everyone, and welcome to DefTalk, the talk show that focuses on everything World of Warcraft, whether it's retail, classic, or the players that play it. I'm Defcamp. We got Melderon over here. How you doing, Melderon?
Hey everyone.
And our very, very, very special guest that I'm so happy to have on, OrcBit. What's up,
Hey
OrcBit?
guys, not much. Glad to be here. Thanks for
Awesome.
the invitation.
I'm so glad that you're
Thanks for
here.
being
I
here.
am. Yeah, you were when we made Def Talk. You were obviously one of our first people that we were like, gotta have Workbit on, gotta have Workbit, gotta have Hamster. We're looking to have all those guys. So, thank you for coming. And I know your schedule's been crazy. So,
Yeah, I mean, I literally unpacked the computer 30 minutes ago to do this, and I'm gonna pack it down again after this.
Oh man, thanks a lot. Thanks for doing that.
dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's worth it. It's classic. So
Yes, exactly. So
Absolutely.
we wanted to start off today and just talk about let's just talk about your introduction to WoW. So when did you first start playing, and how were you introduced to it?
I think I was one of the many kids back then who, I didn't have my own set up my own account and everything at 2004. Some did, I know, but I didn't. So it started like at my friend's place. Back then we were playing Diablo 2 like a lot,
Hmm.
a lot.
Yeah.
And I was kind of skeptical moving away because Diablo 2 is in a way kind of like vanilla, where time investment, you
Oh,
spend
yeah.
a lot of time and you're like, can I let this go? And my friends were slowly like transitioning into classic WoW back then, vanilla WoW. Yeah, and this was like early 2005, I think. And at one point, you look around. Okay, I'm the only one in the boat. What's going on?
Yeah.
And you look over there, and there's another boat, and all your friends are in that boat. And at one point, during that year, I think I was at it wasn't really a LAN party. It was just me sleeping over at my friend, and we went to town. We finally bought our own copy. We didn't all play on account. Like we were three people playing on an account.
Nice.
At the beginning, it was horrible.
Yeah.
We finally got it. I played my first time. I played 24 hours straight.
Oh my
I
God.
was hooked. I played a Tauren shaman called Olaf. That was my
Wow.
very
Nice.
first character ever made. And we played. He made a warrior. He was called Too Fat to Move. I remember this as it was yesterday. And I was when I after the first 24 hours, I got to level 10. It took me literally 24 hours to get to level 10. It was
That's
first
not bad actually for your
First time playing, I was
That's not
too
I
bad.
didn't have any idea. First time I died, I was like, "What's going on now?"
What do
What do I do now?
Like,
Game
Yeah.
over. Just
Yeah.
like, start over.
yeah, just a total fucking noob. But I was in love with the world. I was in love with the class. I was in love with the way you had to discover things.
Right.
There wasn't a tool tip for everything, and
Mhm.
there wasn't a map pointing you in directions, and you were just like, okay, here you are in a world. Find your place, and classic.
Oh my
Been
God.
there ever since.
I just got the chills.
Yeah. It's like
So-
But yeah,
chasing that high, man. It's like that
I
first
know.
time.
I think that was that was my introduction to WoW, and been playing it on and off ever since. Mostly classic on
Yeah.
private servers though, but I played retail up to Cataclysm. I think I played the first 3 months. PvP was great, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, the first few months of Kata were great, and then it went downhill.
Yeah, I mean
quick.
the release was really good.
Yeah.
That was my last midnight release as well. I went to all the others as well.
Oh, nice.
This is my last hard copy as well. I
Yep.
never bought a
Mhm.
copy since, a hard copy at least. But that was, I mean, the trilogy for me is,
Yeah.
vanilla TPC Wrath.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Then it's kind of, your friends are like, hey, play some WoW, and you play for a month, and then you realize this is fucking stupid, and then
Yep.
you leave
Yeah.
your subscription on for 8 months, and you don't think about it.
My subscription's still on. So.
I think
yeah.
mine is probably still going too.
That's a true WoW fan.
I
Right?
played 1 month of Legion, I think. And it was
Oh my God.
not even a month. Who am I kidding?
Maybe we'll get Classic for free since our subscription was on for so long, right? That's the
Yeah.
that's the idea.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what they're going to do is they're going to do either a combined subscription, because otherwise they're going to make people choose, and
Yeah.
they are gonna. Some people are gonna choose classic over retail, not necessarily because they want it, because they say they want to try it, right? Then they lose the retail sub. So I think they're just
Right.
gonna put them all into one World of Warcraft sub.
Yeah,
Also
that's
because
probably
yeah, I think that would make most sense. Also because you already paid for the game 10 years ago.
exactly. That's what I say. I don't think that they're gonna make you pay for it.
No, that
Can
would
you
be
imagine? Like, I paid for this game for like so long ago, and I've been paying ever since. I don't even
Yeah.
want to know how much money I gave to Blizz. I do not want to know.
No, I'm
It's-
not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I think
say.
you can look it up.
You
I think it's
can.
in there,
There's,
right? Yeah.
there's a little
Yeah.
transaction history.
Oh, God. So yeah, Melderon and I started on the same account, and that was painful because
Yeah,
I grew up. Melderon's 5 years older than me, so I grew up like playing all the classic games, Final Fantasy VII, Ocarina of Time. But my experience mostly was watching him play it. So I would sit there and watch him play it, and they could be like, "Come on, Phil, let me play." No, you gotta wait. I'm like, "Oh God, wait till he
Get
gets
away,
to
little
play
brother,
the
get
play."
away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
That-
we
that
really
really
fought
showed.
over like, who could play WoW. So was that your first MMO that you're that you played?
No, I played before that. I played RuneScape.
Okay.
Like a lot of people. And I played a really, I guess it was really unknown, but it was called Rubies of Eventide.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Really fucking weird but awesome game. It was like, three dudes in a basement running it. They had 3 servers, only a couple of hundred people in each. They had maybe a handful of staff, and they would do like in-game events with the staff. I mean, they would set fire to a bridge in-game, and in 2003 or 4, that was like insane to see some people
Wow.
interact with hardware in like stuff in the game and just set it on fire and
That's
do
awesome.
random community events. Yeah, it was really good. I mean, the graphics and the play style would probably turn off some people, but
Mm.
I mean, the crafting system, I've never seen such a crafting
I love good
system
crafting
ever
systems.
since.
Yeah.
The skill trees, the combat, everything. There's like 2,000 different things
Wow.
you could do, and you picked a race, and each race was better at some things, but you could basically spec in everything. So you could make a dagger wielding rogue type of creature that could cast healing magic and summon an imp for him. It was just really, really good because it was so open, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I enjoyed it. But that was prior to my WoW time, I think, or at the same time ish or transaction. I can't remember, but it was great.
I have seen this before, and the graphics almost look similar to what the hell was it? I forget the other one at the time. That
Dark
was
Age
the
Camelot.
yes, Dark.
Yeah,
the graphics
yeah.
look very similar to Dark Age Camelot. Now, was that was it PvP
Yeah.
focus too?
It was-
Okay, so it
Yeah,
was like
it was hardcore PvP as well. You lose your shit when there was
Nice.
PvP servers, but if you died, you lose your shit.
yeah.
And I remember when I played this, like in the beginning, my computer would sometimes just fucking crash when you entered a new zone, because you had to load every zone. Imagine going
Oh.
from the Barrens to Thousand Needles, right? It would put you through a loading screen. And I was running my Windows 2000 computer, and sometimes it would take like 15 minutes, and I would be like, okay, now I've got to force restart. But if you didn't let it wait long enough, you just force restart and get back into before you load it.
Oh
and you
my
had to load it
God.
again.
God.
It must have been so
And you
frustrating.
hear like the fan on your computer.
Yeah.
It's just like
Oh god.
It's
And
like
there was-
heat in your room. Like,
yeah.
And it was time gated, or like it was real time based. So at night there would be certain creatures out. You would have to
That's
go. So
awesome.
it's like, oh, it's late. I have to get to the fucking monastery and kill these trolls.
That's an interesting
can't-
system. I like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was amazing. I mean, with today's standards, of course, people would look at it and be like, fuck. But I mean, just the crafting system, the skill system, the I don't even remember the lore. It felt like a rich universe, but.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
a lot of people who came from games like this and EverQuest, like I think you look at WoW Classic especially, and a lot of people think, oh, it's such a hardcore game, it's very unforgiving. But you look at those games, they were
It's
so
not
much more
unforgiving.
unforgiving.
I mean,
It's-
WoW was unforgiving in the beginning. You had
Yeah.
penalties that would reduce your experience if
Mhm.
you didn't log out in an inn and
Right.
crazy shit like that. Like you would get like if you didn't play, basically, you had to play to be somewhat rewarded or just stay neutral. If you didn't play, you would get punished for it.
Really?
They
Wow.
changed that. Yeah, they changed that obviously.
Yeah,
But with the rested XP and everything. But there was
right.
I'm not even sure with if they had other death penalties in mind, but that was kind of the gist back then. If you look at EverQuest,
Yeah.
Dying should really hurt, but
Yeah.
in the only thing that hurts in Classic or in WoW in general is you have to run back.
Repair.
It's
and
just
repair
time.
every once in a while. Yeah.
But you don't really lose it.
No.
You will never lose your shit.
Could you imagine losing? Could you imagine just like I was just thinking of like some of the gear that I worked so hard for. Can you imagine just like getting ganked outside of Dire Mall and then you run back your corpse and your tier 1 like headpiece is gone.
I don't even want it.
Yeah, that would be insane.
I farmed Nax for 2 years straight on Phoenix, and I still didn't get my End of Dreams mace. I got injured and all this kind of shit. But I could imagine like finally getting it, and then that shit would happen. I'm not even.
No.
Just like kick your computer out the window.
Yeah,
one of those. It's one of those things.
Something.
That's why I can never play on like Phoenix, and I mean it looks like people who love that kind of thing. It looks fun. It's very interesting. I like the idea of it and how you can mix and match like different specs and abilities and things. But the hardcore like losing the. I mean, I guess you have to look at it in a totally different way. Like I can't be as invested as I would be in like a normal character.
I mean, some of my friends and I we do sometimes like create Diablo 2 hardcore characters and just like go in one sitting, see how long we can get. But it's totally different than having a character and invest yourself in it, level all the professions and reputation and grind the gear and lose it like that would be insane.
Yeah,
it would definitely be insane. So, real quick, jump back to your experience. That Tauren Shaman, did you get him to 60? Did you remain in that character for a long time? Was that your main?
I still have it.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't play it. I think it's level 80. I also still have another 60 shaman on my original account. I have a lot of shamans.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah. But I still have them. I still have a lot of my original characters. I have a druid called Fancy Pants or some shit like that. A priest, a rogue, my rogue Trink, my first and only ever Trink.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm not too big on the twinking thing either, but at least you didn't delete your characters like Melderon did, so that's good.
I did delete a warrior. Yeah, that happened.
You deleted it?
I deleted a warrior,
character
so I hit 60, and I hated the warrior so much, and I'm like, well, I'm going to roll a new class. Instead of just, like, making a new character, I just deleted
the thing was, he was just so bad at the warrior. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't even the fact that he hated it, he was just so bad at it.
Yeah.
And, like...
I was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I rolled a mage, and then things were a lot better. I didn't discover Shaman, actually, until Wrath, which is funny, and then I went backwards from there and played Shaman. But so did you? End game progression for you on the Shaman was did you heal? Did you PvP? Anything?
Mostly because this is vanilla. What you do is you heal. That's the most common thing. It's not excluding the other stuff, but the way I like to kind of build my character, because I've done it a lot of times now with the Shaman, gearing it. I start out as Resto, and I always recommend people doing it. Just find a guild, go Resto, just fucking start raiding. Just start doing fucking MC, BBL, all that shit. And you get your Resto gear, and depending on if it's a DKP based guild or a council, once you get your gear, talk to the leadership about the idea of going elemental, for example. If they're open to it, sure, but you have to be ready to put in, I mean, a lot. You have to overuse consumables, farm dark runes, demonic runes, mana pots and shit like crazy. Yeah. So it's not like, if you want to do that transition, and if the guild says yes, you don't celebrate yet. You still have to put in that effort. But that's the way I usually recommend people going about it if they want to go elemental. But not going elemental in PvE at all is totally fine. I mean, I raided for like 4 years with my old guild Omega on various servers, and I was just Resto and got PvP gear or elemental gear from raiding, and I would spec elemental for PvP. I mean, there are various different ways you can do this. The enhancement one is a bit more tricky. Sure, I mean, you can find guilds that will let you just be enhancement, but it's not a thing guilds will seek out. It's something you have to find a guild that will let you or doesn't care. That's the harsh truth of it, because enhancement shamans can't really do anything the others can't if they don't spec into like improved totems.
Right.
Even if you always have a couple of off tanks, they can have what's the axe called? Nightfall.
Nightfall. That's the most common. Yeah.
You could have a hunter spang wing clip 24/7 at the boss with.
That is a more efficient Nightfall proc. Yeah.
So bringing the shaman because Nightfall or because totems. I mean, it's a very small argument. So instead of like trying to grip onto that theory that it makes sense, just instead make it a sentimental thing. Like, I like playing this.
Yep.
Can I find a guild that will let me? Because you can never justify this in front of people who are min-maxing or whatever.
Yeah.
So don't even try. I mean,
don't even try. Yeah.
if you're gonna make a case, then you have to make a case on utility. Like the shaman brings utility to the red, but that's not spec bound. So it has to be like a combination of you being a really good player, high attendance, showing that you really want to play, combined with you just playing your class fairly decent, and then having a guild that will allow you.
Yeah.
But I usually go with the route of just healing and getting all the gear I want. I can't get. I don't get it just because I want it. And then if I have enough to go elemental for PvE, because you really need a lot. And it also depends on the gear. The progression of the server. If it's I wouldn't recommend it pre-AQ. Well, you can still do it, but all the spell pen gear, you get that from AQ and upwards. And because nature is one of the schools that has no, like, you don't have a curse or anything for nature resistance. So all the mobs are either going to be, way higher than Fire, Frost, and Shadow, or, the same if you're lucky. So you do have, you have to get some spell pen in order for this to work. And you do also, I recommend, don't go unless you have a tank with Thunder Fury, because they have a 25 nature resistance deep on the main target. So combine that with some spell pen, and you can actually start doing some decent damage. As elemental.
So elemental ability is kind of predicated on the nature resistance issue, you'd say.
Yeah. And mana, you can't spam. The way you have to, because the play style is a bit different when you do elemental. Obviously, every spec is, but you have to. Let's say your guild is raiding Molten Core, and you have cleared it several times. You then have to look at how long the guild takes on killing each boss. Let's say it takes 3 minutes. Then you have to calculate which ranks of lightning bolts can I use if I have to spam it for 3 minutes. So what I do is I usually time this, and I switch between rank 6, 8, and 10. You would never really spam rank 10 unless you have the mana for it. But then you kind of have to adjust throughout the fight your mana pool, because you're going to get drained if you do rank 10. So you kind of adjust it to how fast your guild clears shit. I mean, at the end, when you go to Molten Core and AQ and Nax gear, a boss fight lasts 1 minute or something like that. Then you can spam it.
Right.
And you have to do that, that rank calculation together with like using mana pots and demonic rooms, of course. All the other stuff is just it's on top of that.
That's just
and logically, the quicker you and your guild manages to kill a boss, the more DPS you're going to produce. You're never going to be able to produce than the hardcore DPS classes, but you're going to be up there. I mean, you can, if you're fully. I have some clips of me with fully geared and everything. You can do some
amazing DPS. I've seen.
And the way you have to justify it in the raid setting, the raid setup is if you have a group, especially, well, it's Horde side, but it all makes sense because you have warlocks, right? They have a really hard time with threat. We all know this. They do a lot of damage, but they have a threat ceiling. They have no way to deduct any threat. So let's say you have a group of 5 warlocks, and each of them they can do about 80% DPS because they can go all out to 100, right? If you put a shaman, if you remove one shaman, you have 4 warlocks, and you have one shaman with Tranquil Air Totem, which reduces the 20%, right? And this is rough numbers. But the idea is you allow folks to push out to 100 and all you have to do is produce 20% of a Warlock's DPS in order to make it work. And you do that, you do more than that.
Absolutely.
So that right there is the justification for shamans in vanilla WoW.
It's really interesting, well thought. Very
it
good.
is.
I like that. Yeah, so basically you can construct that group based upon that predication right there. You're like, okay, I'm going to have these 4 locks instead of 5, have this elemental shaman drop Tranquil Air, and he'll produce, what, 40, 50% of that damage, maybe?
Probably more.
Maybe more, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, depending on gear, but if you do the mana pots and the demonic, if you really do that, because mana is like one of the biggest issues. If you have you can go with wisdom, but I mean, if you want deeps, you should go with spell power flask. But I mean, you can easily push out the amount of DPS in order to make that group function as a 5 warlock group, but with a lot of more utility. You have tank, you have your totems, you can heal, you can off heal, and people usually be like, oh, well, why don't you just put a resto shaman? Then you lose a DPS spot.
Exactly.
That's the thing. You can't just put an extra resto because you don't need a resto. You need damage, right? So that's at least my theory or my case for the elemental shaman in PvE setting, and it's fucking fun. Just let
it is
fun. Come on.
And that's the thing. Like so many people are used to like the min max viewpoint, and that's the thing. Like when we come to Classic, right? Are we going to see every guild being this min max? That's not going to be the case. You have 40 people in a raid. You're going to have a room for a few hybrids. It's going to happen.
Definitely. I mean, the way it was designed is you can have 40 people and you can have 25 of them knowing what to do. And you're going to have 15 learning or AFKing or whatever. Vanilla WoW has wriggled a lot of it. I mean, we did Unix here with like 20 people. You can easily do that. So I mean, and people love, because they love to complain sometimes that it's not hard enough. But they don't want to make it harder.
So, OrcBit, is there a case for enhancement in raids?
Yes, but only if you have improved totems.
Okay. So you would say less so for enhancement, unless you have Nightfall, right?
You do need to have that.
You need to have it. It's a requirement.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that makes, because enhancement works, kinda. If you have the right gear, I mean, you can make some crits, but it's very inconsistent. It's very difficult to manage your threat if you have a Wind Fury proc on the first hit, and then the second hit is a Wind Fury proc as well. So there's a lot of like play style implications. I would say if you go for the improved totems, I think it's like 30% more AP on your Wind Fury. And
that's right.
I can't remember how strong your Earth Totem gets and your Grace of Air.
Grace of Air and Strength of Earth, yeah.
Yeah, but if you get those 2 talents, like the Tier 2 and the Tier 4 or something like that, I can't remember how far down it is, I would say it's worth it for the melee group if you have really good rogues and Fury Warriors. And also just because, again, the utility you bring contra if you had an extra rogue, right, you would have 200 more DPS or something like that. And sometimes, the worst thing you can do in such a setting is value a character or a class on it will produce 400 DPS. Well, if the dude dies 2 seconds in the game, he's worthless, right?
Exactly.
If a shaman dies, he can ank. He can heal. He can.
That's a good point, man. Yeah.
Utility has its own like kind of values, and they don't really transcend over to like DPS or
absolutely
HP or whatever. But people don't think about them because they're really handy when they're there. But you don't really
like look at like a Mana Spring totem. Like look at that utility. Like look how much you're helping, especially on fights where you're waiting. Like I'm just thinking of like in like Ubers where you're waiting for black the mobs to come out, and like in between you can pot and stuff like that, but having that Mana Spring totem is like huge. Like it's
swapping out resto shamans for what's it called, Manatide.
A Manatide, yeah. Oh my god, such a
like swapping like getting the priest shit ton of mana, and it's I mean the utility of, and that's really what the 3 hybrid classes bring to vanilla. There are a jack of all trades, master of none, like quite literally. And it makes sense because, again, as we talked about earlier, if you had a shaman doing the same DPS as a mage, but he could still rest himself and rest others and heal and grounding totem and anti-fear and all this shit. From a game design
It
perspective,
would break PvP. I think.
So as I said, they are the masters of PvP, though, right? Because a lot of hybrids.
But imagine if they buffed elemental damage for PvE.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I mean, the only thing they could do, which wouldn't like necessarily break shit, is like just reduce the mana cost of lightning bolt. But again, I don't want to.
Even then,
that's not even.
I don't want to see it change.
Like, yeah.
Let's say you actually do that. You know what you lose then? You lose all the intricacy and time and effort spent on like mana pots and managing your demonic runes and mana pots during the fight. You just remove layers, and it's sad. Vanilla is all about breaking the game and finding those layers and you
finding those little shortcuts.
Because the game is not going to do it for you. That's how it works nowadays. The game is there's not even different ranks, so you don't even know what you choose.
I know.
The game does everything for you. Except pressing the button.
Yeah, there's no afterthought.
You got to do the work yourself in vanilla.
Yeah. And then if you reduce the mana cost of lightning bolt, then what else is going to be changed next to compensate that?
Exactly.
It turns into this whole,
And I'm even like, it would be a thing that would benefit a player like me, right? I play shaman. Buff my class, but no, I don't want that shit.
Exactly, because you want to be like. And that's I think for me, one of the glory of like playing the hybrids is the fact that you are playing a class where you're not a mage, right? So you have to go the extra mile. And that's rewarding for me, like knowing that I am playing a class that might have a peg down from other players in a certain niche, in a certain thing for like say DPS. Going that extra mile and then seeing those results when you get them, it's a great feeling. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I just, I did everything I could in order to make my DPS shine or make my class shine. And, a mage doesn't get that satisfaction because they're just doing it and that's what they do. When you do it and you see those numbers.
As a mage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very hard to fuck up as a mage. You're spamming one button. Yeah. If you can't do that.
Even when you get to I mean, it gets more fun when you get to AQ and you can start using ignite and
fire.
Start using fire. Exactly.
Add-on and stuff, right? We had a lot of fun in Nax and AQ with like pushing other mages ignite to a ridiculous amount and then having them die. That was like a thing back in the day that people would just like fuck each other's ignite because you would get a shit ton of threat.
Yes. Yeah.
So quick, going back to enhancement. Sorry, Matt. Real quick, I have one more question. So if someone is really, really into doing enhancement, maybe I'm talking about myself. Who knows? So would you recommend stacking crit to proc flurry as much as possible? Is that how you're going to stay competitive?
Yes. I assume you're going to be doing this with a two-hander, right?
Yeah, I'm actually probably going to go resto. This is more of me dreaming right now of maybe going enhancement.
Because I'm actually playing with some really memey one-hand shit right now on my own server.
Wait, do you mean for leveling or for DPS? For raid DPS?
For endgame.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Is it based on a dagger?
No, you're gonna love it. I'm not gonna.
Okay, I can't wait.
It's gonna be based off a certain weapon. I think.
Yeah. If you think about it, you'll, and there's a trinket involved as well.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would get the. I mean, it depends on your gear because you need a certain amount of AP as well, because otherwise you're going to be critting and you're going to have flurry up. You're not going to be doing much damage. So you should definitely go for both. You shouldn't just purely go for agility or crit. It should be definitely both. But I would go for crit before anything else, just for that flurry. I mean, even if you miss one vanilla, it's the fucking death sentence enhancement shot. Right?
Yeah,
so it takes a long time for the next hit.
Yeah.
So the more hits you can get, and again, it's still based on the base speed of your weapon, your damage. So it doesn't matter that it's fast. And if the server is scripted correctly, Wind Fury should be able to proc anyway. So all the things that they fixed later, like in TBC, the reason why you didn't have fast dual wielding weapons in TBC is, of course, there was a cooldown on your Wind Fury for 3 seconds, right? And you wanted the big numbers instead, so you had slower weapons for that. But imagine if it wouldn't be like, if it was the same as in vanilla, there would be no.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah, you could just like fucking keep on procking it.
That would be amazing.
So I did some junior level theory crafting on a video that I made basically, and so what I found was that Wind Fury Rockbiter is actually faster during leveling than Wind Fury on a lot of tests that I did. Would you think if they removed, let's pretend the threat issue wasn't there with Rockbiter, would Rockbiter be better than Wind Fury? No.
Nah,
Okay.
I don't think so. It's, I mean, you could test it. You can put your character AFK for 10 minutes and make him white hit something, and see how much damage you've done,
Yeah.
and see how many crits.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
How many procs. But in the real setting, because that's not how real setting is when you're playing and stuff like that. Stationary, just hitting a target. That's much more involved, and like purely for leveling, I would just go flame tone and a dagger.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do primarily. Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 shamans I leveled, I did it like that. But before that, I usually just stuck with like elemental resto. No, not resto, enhancement.
The hybrid build.
I like the hybrid build.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's something new. It's way more sustainable. I mean, people should try it if they have level shamans before, because it's different than just waiting for that win.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, it's really frustrating. Sorry, go ahead, Defcamp.
No, so speaking of Rockbiter, I just wanted to see what you think about something. So Melderon has made a video about shaman tanking, right?
Yeah.
And we also shouts out to Call Me Blue from the guild. He tanked BRD for us last night. Did an amazing job. Amazing job. I'm serious.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was healing him, and
did he stack defense or anything, or was he like? Did he have?
Yeah, he does have defense. I mean, he's working on his tank gear still.
Okay,
we just got him. I think we just got him draconic. So I think he got it. I don't know if he got it the last run, but yeah. So we're he's getting gear. We pulled at one point 4 or 5 elementals, and he kept aggro on all of them.
That's amazing.
And doing an amazing job. So what do you think about shaman tanking, OrcBit? In dungeons.
It's about the same ballpark as paladin tanking for me, to be honest. Though people would probably say paladin tanking is way more actual tanking, right? You can wear plate. You actually have some abilities. You don't have taunt, which
shamans can kind of taunt. So
we can at least produce threat when we want to with an ability, at least more threat. I've seen a guy when I played on Lightbringer. He was tanking Sorgarup as a shaman. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
But you need some heavy hitting healers.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
But I mean, way back on Warsong, we did a 20-man shaman Sorgarup run. But it was in full tier 3 and shit. But still, I mean, you can do some funny stuff. And that's the thing about the hybrid classes. You're never going to be doing anything amazing. But just the ability to go up to each different class and challenge them on their turf. You're never going to beat them, but a mage can't try to out-heal a priest. It gives the class so much more flavor. You can do stuff.
It really does.
And it pushes you to do better because you want to be on par with whatever you're trying to do. If you're doing DPS, or if you're healing, or if you're tanking, whatever you're doing, you're pushing yourself way harder than you would if you played a warrior, if you played a mage or priest. I mean, I assume. I don't know how other people play, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very. I mean, the thing about shamans is, right? You bring so much to the table with your totems. You have, and I think shamans are amazing healers. I mean, you have chain heal, which is just, I mean, it's irreplaceable. It's amazing.
Yes.
And it's one of those classes where I think like the class fantasy mixed with the what you bring to the table, and there's so many cool aspects about shamans. And I wasn't too big about shamans. This is more like, oh yeah, paladins are better healers in this. But the more I started to learn about shamans, the more I started to love them, because they're just so they have like a wide range of abilities and what they can do, and so many different totems, and almost like a scenario for everything. They have something for everything, and that's what I think is amazing about shamans.
Yeah, people just have to be, if they're listening to this and be like, oh, I'm just a word of advice. It's you can do everything, but there are always going to be people doing stuff better than so.
Right. Mm-hmm.
People have to know that of course you can heal and you can tank and you can DPS and all this stuff, but there are certain things you take with that, right? So
Yeah.
you're never going to be top, and you're never going to be, but you're going to be. I mean, I'm having fun. I've played Shaman like fucking 12 years straight now, and still doing it. Geared, I don't know how many Shamans also in vanilla tier 3 and shit.
Wow.
So it's if you like it, you're really gonna like it.
Yeah.
But don't assume you're playing this almighty Power Ranger that can just fucking change color like that and be a new Power Ranger.
Not like a paladin, right?
No, not like a paladin. No.
So let's Melderon, are you? I thought I couldn't hear you for a second.
No,
You were
yeah.
muted?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I wanted to back off of the shaman thing a little bit, and I just wanted to talk about. So, me and Melderon were talking a bit about some things that I think you recently made a video about it, and that was world buffs. And we were talking about, we were recently listening to Countdown to Classic, and what's the name of the player again, Melderon? Taladrill, yeah. And he brought up some interesting points about, retuning bosses, to make vanilla feel more as it was in vanilla. Basically,
and all world buffs. So I mean, we will probably cover this at some point in a later episode, but we want to have both sides of the argument. And I mean, if someone hasn't seen your video, please go check it out on OrcBit channel about world buffs. What is your stance on world buffs and possibly mechanics in raids and changing them, and why?
Short answer.
Yeah, so maybe we can go
no
step
changes.
by step. Yeah. Right.
Short answer, no changes. Long answer, still no changes. And here's what. The thing is, taking something which has already been known, it's not new, and trying to make it new is just it's. I mean, why would you do that? Then just go create something new, because you're never going to end up with a new experience. What you are going to do is potentially ruin the existing experience, right? And through the last 10 years, I've never heard people ask for classic with whatever change, or classic with this or that. I've only heard for like classic, because that's what people want. And it's not a question of game design, because we could have this conversation all day long. Design changes could be made in order to still be a great game and all this stuff. I mean, I could come up with 100 right now if you want me to, but that's not really what for me, the discussion is not a discussion to be had. Like, what changes you can theory craft and talk about, oh, this would be cool, and go play on a free fall weird ass private server somewhere where you can build whatever character you want. But it's a very specific thing that I want. It's vanilla WoW. Yeah. As it is.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that like the changes that people propose don't make sense.
Yeah.
Or that wouldn't be a good thing to do. I mean, obviously I wouldn't know, because I haven't tried the game with that changes in it. But that's not a game that I'm asking for. I'm asking for classic, and it's what most people are asking for. And it's a weird discussion for me, because it's something that, I mean, why would you take your old Black Sabbath record down the shelf and be like, let's put some fucking techno trance on top of this and see if this works? I mean, sure, it might work.
I have Iron Man in my head.
Are you talking Dio days, or are you talking Ozzy days?
Ozzy days. Okay. Heaven and Hell days.
Oh, I love Dio too.
Yeah. I have that on vinyl as well.
Now I have Iron Man in my head. Go do. Go ahead. Thanks.
So
I hope I make myself clear.
No.
Because it's like dissonance in a conversation for me. When I hear people talk about this, because people are saying, but why wouldn't we change this? Look how much sense this makes. And then people are like over here like, well, it can be very sensical, but we don't want it anyway. I mean, it's people are just
So like there was the really good. I mean, Countdown to Classic, Josh, when he does over there, had a really good. There was no changes debate. And I got to say, like the guys who are on the changes team, like they brought up some really amazing points and some really well thought of things. But when it comes like I don't want to and I think there's a lot of theory crafting that goes on in this. There's a lot of ideas, but for me, like at the end of it every time, even though I think like, wow, that's a really good idea. Wow, maybe what would happen? I go, okay, this is vanilla WoW. It wasn't perfect. Just like every other game, it wasn't perfect. There are always going to be some things that are, oh, this could have been better. Oh, this could have been better. Oh, this could have been better. But we are asking for vanilla, and at its core, it has some of these things that, maybe it wasn't perfect. Yeah, maybe it wasn't great. But you have to, I think, at the end of the day, say, okay, I'm willing to accept vanilla for what it is, some of the problems I've had, because that's what it was, and that is it, basically. I mean, and that's what I come down to every time I start flirting with these ideas. It's just like vanilla wasn't perfect yet, but when you start changing these things, will it still be vanilla? You know what I mean? And that's kind of every time I can't get past that point. It's like, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it's still vanilla. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of it feels like a romantic idea that you can take Vanilla WoW that we all love and somehow make it even better, so we can make sure that we have a great experience once it's out. I mean, sure, but why would you change something that you finally get? I mean, it's not even, because it's not a discussion about game design. We're not trying to make a new game and find all the things that should be changed, because there are a bunch of stuff in vanilla that's fucking stupid. And if I made a game tomorrow, I wouldn't be doing that. But we're not creating a new WoW or anything. Blizzard is doing that. It's called Battle for Azeroth, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to play whatever version with some gimped assets that weren't in the game, guess what? You can go play on a fun server somewhere. Because it's a discussion where we talk, like, how can we improve a game that people haven't been asking for a improved version for? So it's just, I mean, it can be fun to talk about and theorize and not, but I just don't see the point in talking about what changes to make to something that you're already happy about getting.
Right.
It seems like we are way too bored right now and kind of have to think of something while we're waiting, and then we figure, how about we change the honor system, because that shit was fucked, right? But I mean, if it came out tomorrow, I think a lot of stuff would settle down. You would, of course, have some people who didn't play or don't like that sort of game go whine on the forums, but I mean, the game is not going to be there for the people who don't like that sort of gameplay. It's going to be there for the people who like that sort of gameplay.
Right.
There are plenty of other games, plenty of other expansions, plenty of other places you can go to get that fix. But this very specific fix, there's a reason why you had stuff like Mysterious. You know, it's very rare, and don't fucking mess with it.
Yep.
So in your video, you made a really good, interesting point, and it was something that I was like, that's a really good point. So basically, regardless if you think world buffs, if you're listening to this, if you think world buffs are good or bad, if they break the game, if they don't break the game, the point where you said there's a guild getting these world buffs, these groups getting these world buffs, and the fact that you can interact with other guilds and world PvP can commence just because of everyone's going for these world buffs. So that in itself makes the world so much more.
It does. Absolutely.
I mean, if you start cutting out these aspects, why the fuck would you have quest chains or pre-quests? Or I mean, you can. I mean, people use it as an argument. Oh, people will clear it fucking quickly, and I mean, come on, let's be real. Have you looked at the progression on private servers? People clear shit like instantly after release. Yeah. Maybe it would have taken them 2 more hours without world buffs or whatever, but they're still going to do it. They've been doing it for months on their own server before the release or PTR or whatever. So, and I tried to counter that argument that we have to make sure that stuff is challenging once it comes out. And that's also one of the arguments why you would change stuff. Make it fresh and challenging. Guess what? It's still the same boss. If it lasts 20 more seconds or has an ability you haven't seen before, it's not going to be a new game, but you're going to ruin it for all the people who love the old boss. Right, for the guilds who are not that hardcore, the world boss will actually aid them more than the hardcore guilds, because the hardcore guilds, they're going to clear it anyway. They could be in greens, probably. So I actually think that people think that it's going to create a greater divide between the hardcore guilds and the casual guilds. I think the opposite, that it would actually help. Or at least it would help the guilds that want to put in some effort to catch up, because it's not a necessity for the hardcore guilds, but it is for the casual guilds if they want to be on progression from day one.
So basically, you get what you put in. is what you're saying. So if that casual guild is putting in all its time and energy getting these world buffs, they'll reap the benefits of those world buffs.
Yeah, and that was one of the other arguments. This is fucking vanilla WoW. If you don't want to spend time or invest energy or and time into something, you shouldn't get rewarded. People who go out and do something, spend time doing something, they should get rewarded. Just because you don't want to do it, well, maybe you do want to do it, but you think it's wrong. I mean, removing such an aspect from the game for me is like a no-go, especially one that incentivizes like PvP like it does. I mean, I love the feeling when we had to run from Kargath as a whole guild into
Oh my god, it's the best.
Scout it, and then you meet this alliance guild, and then warriors up front, mages go, free action potion, let's go. All this shit. I love it. Imagine if that weren't there. You didn't have that anxiety running in the instant because you don't want to lose. I get it when some people lose it, they get like all bummed out and don't want to.
That's part of it, though. That's
It's part of it. So I mean, again, it's a no-go in my book. I'm not saying it's great arguments or people bring up
people bring up great points.
Great points, but
at the end of the day, it's like
I don't need a point. I don't need you to rationalize why this would make sense, because there's a shit ton of vanilla that doesn't make sense, and try to speak from a position of like logic. Or this makes no sense. Let's do this. When we have a game that's so flawed and we love it because of its flaws. It's just, yeah.
No, you're exactly right. And one of the things that doesn't make sense to me is paladins having lay on hands and bubbles. I'm just joking. It's just going on Matt there. But
I mean, it wouldn't change anything if they removed it, though. It would still suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's still gonna hit with wet noodle anyway. So, okay. So where were we? So basically, we went over that. And then just the counter argument would be. So moving on to what we know so far, we're going to have a 1.12 talent system, most likely.
Probably.
Do you think 1.12? Sorry. Do you think 1.12 trivializes MC, Ani, and BWL? And
sorry, if what?
Do you think 1.12 talents may trivialize older raids?
Yeah, of course they will. But knowledge and experience is going to trivialize that shit way more. I mean, the what is it? 10% more frost damage from the Winter's Chill.
Yes,
it's gonna do a difference. But I think 12 years of theory crafting and clearing these bosses on other servers will do way more.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it would be nice to have some sort of gated system, where you would encounter content in its given state at the patch that was the content way back. But going through patch to patch, and would you then implement all the broken stuff as well that was fixed the week after? And if not, then the devs have to go through all the patches, find out what got fixed because it was broke, and what got fixed because they felt like it, and what got fixed because right. And half of these people, they don't work at Blizzard anymore.
The
people who are making the decisions right now, obviously I don't know the team, but I seriously doubt there's any original people on there. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'd have heard fucking Mark Kern go crazy on Twitter if he was. So
definitely, yeah.
It's also a question of, let's be realistic. It's probably a fairly small team working on this compared to the other teams at Blizzard. It's a unknown for them. They have no idea which way this is going to go. There's a shit ton of hype about it, but there was a shit ton of hype about No Man's Sky as well, and that shit flopped, right? So we have to look at it now. We can actually talk a bit about game design. How would you put all this stuff together in order to make it work? Right. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to run the 1.12. They're going to have all the original values in place, damage, stats,
optimization, stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
all this is going to work. I mean, Nostarius did it somewhat correctly, so it shouldn't be a problem for Blizzard. It's just values that change on a patch, right? But stuff like talents, I don't see them literally changing the trees during the progression. I could see them doing some sort of so this is beneath the surface, like in the code, right? They would have some gating system in order to make the fights feel like you have 10% less DPS. You could easily do that, right? I mean, you could give the boss more HP, or you could just flat out lower your DPS. I mean, you wouldn't do that because people would notice it, right? But you could have mechanics
Definitely.
in place that would make the boss just feel 10% harder. Well, not 10%, but you know, the 10% thrust damage, whatever it is you get talent. I bet there are things they could put in place to modify it, but on the surface, the experience would be the same. You would have the talent, you would do the same rotation, the boss is the same, everything.
Then you go into the retuning the whole argument again, though. You know what I mean? The whole change thing. It's like, oh well, technically you're retuning then if you do it. So it's like kind of a can of worms, you know?
Yeah. So you can't win, really. So, but I'm perfectly happy because I'm realistic. Of course, there are other things that I want, but you have to distinguish between what you want and what's possible. And I think the 1.12 running as you know as we've known it is fine. I mean, of course, it's not perfect, and I hope they put in some sort of gated system for the most hardcore things. But I don't. It's gonna be hard to actually fix that and make it feel like it did, because it's never gonna feel like that anyway.
No,
you're not gonna be running 3 FPS and all that stuff.
It's never gonna feel like it
square
did
monitors
in vanilla. It's never gonna feel like that. And I think that's something we have to realize. But it's never gonna be like that. But I think one of the most important things for me that I think of is itemization. You know, I think it's very important. You know, no matter what talents we have, is to make sure that we have the right itemization for the patch. You know, because items changed a lot throughout vanilla, and the changing of the items, of course, is going to make content a lot easier, going to make content a lot, more difficult earlier in vanilla. So that's something I hope, I'm sure Blizzard will do, but that's some things that they're doing, on certain private servers now. They've been doing really well, even doing like the older art forms of the tier. I think that's really cool. Like you see the original tier 1, the original dungeon sets before they change.
Original skin on tier 2.
Oh
they did that on
Lightbringer. Yeah,
because if you go and delete your cache and everything and you log in before the 1.10 0.9 patch, the AQ pre, people are going to be looking fucking ugly in their
yeah.
I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong.
I love it too. Yeah,
the shaman one is just like, wait, is this a druid?
I know.
It's like, oh,
I love the turbans, and
and I think that's not difficult to do. Stuff like that would be fun to have in the game. It would be fun if the talisman dropped once each server, stuff like that. I hope they do it. And I'm pretty sure because they know they're going to be riding that nostalgia wave as well. We all know that it's not pure nostalgia why it's good. It's a great game, but a lot of it is also nostalgia for the feel. I'm not saying the feel is making you delusional, but just the nostalgia feel. And I think they want to put in, I hope they put in the blood curse and the everything from CG. That would be
great. I know that would
that's
amazing. Like one of the things where I'm thinking of, like, are they gonna just completely, was that an oversight, you know what I mean? But
but it's cool. You're seeing it being cited in real scientific studies.
I know,
about bacteria spreading or disease or something. It's like,
it's so cool. Yeah,
it's a video game.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about the corrupted blood incident. You should check it out on Wikipedia if you have time. So riffing off of that, we're just talking about kind of the way things are looking. We know you know changes, and so are we. But so when it comes to graphics, why do you think it's so important to keep the original graphics?
I think there are two major arguments. There's the player, the personal one, and then there's the business side. The personal one is if you play, let's say, Mario Kart, but you play it with Need for Speed cars. It's fucking weird, right? It is. And it kind of feels like that for me, at least. I think there's a huge difference from vanilla to retail animations, textures, everything, right? It's a huge part of the feel of the game. I don't like my orc jumping around like a monkey, and I don't want my Tauren to be running like I don't even know what that shit is.
Like
it's way too cartoony in a bad way. It's trying to be realistic while still being artsy. Old Warcraft is just artsy. It's not realistic at all. You have like your face is for fucking pixels.
I completely agree.
Yeah. You're playing a game, but the feel of it just works. It
Mhm.
works for me. It's how Warcraft feels for me. It's still, you can see that it's in the Warcraft engine where they made Warcraft and everything.
Yep.
It's the same shit.
Yep.
It feels like this is Warcraft. Yeah, if you play the originals at least,
Right.
the houses, everything, it's the universe. And once you put on, the chrome paint on that and put in fancy new animations and
Mhm.
gameplay that's totally different as well, well, guess what? It's a new game.
Yep.
So like that's more like the personal thing for me. From a business idea, at least from a marketing idea, imagine the fuck show it would be on Twitch, where people would, like, if I didn't play WoW, I would go into a classic stream.
Yep.
I would see the same graphics and characters and things. I go buy the game, but it's Legional, and they're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Blizzard knows this, that they have to distinguish
Yep.
clearly.
Absolutely.
And that's why I've always told people, especially before news of it, like, oh, what if they're gonna? I was like, dude, be fucking real. They're not going to be putting the same. They're not going to be putting a 13-year-old game looking the same as their flagship game on Twitch and YouTube and everything.
Yep.
It would cause confusion with new players. It would cause like just confusion going through the streams on Twitch. You wouldn't know.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, is this Legion? And that's one of my main points too. It's like, for me, and don't get me wrong, like, there are some beautiful things with the new, like the water textures, things like that. But
it's a pretty game.
It's pretty. It is. It's pretty.
It's a pretty game.
But like, I log in, and I'm sorry, this is the way I feel about, like, I played Legion, I did the Mythic raid scene, all that. The way I feel when I log in to the current WoW, automatic, when I look at it, when I see the graphics, it's that association I have. So it's like, okay, this is retail. It's not the game I like. It's what WoW is today. My passion is vanilla WoW. When I see those vanilla WoW graphics, I get that feeling, and it's like that association thing. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to log in to vanilla and see Legion graphics, I would immediately have that association that I feel when I log on to Legion. And for me, that's one of my biggest things is like I want to feel that feeling of when I log in. And it's those little things like the draw distance, having that, not being able to see from when you look to Thunderbluff to see over to all of Mulgore, it makes the world feel so much bigger. It adds to the mysticism. It really makes everything feel just more menacing, and yes,
the weather
and
the weather
engine
effects. I mean, and like that. That's those little things, and what I'm afraid of is like they're using the 1.12 core, right? So I'm guessing things will be a little bit more sharper than what we're used to. Maybe like
imagine
1 or 2 on the scale.
Yeah, the RAF, the RAF textures.
I think it's gonna be RAF. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, if we have to, then that's one of the more fair ones.
Yeah.
I would rather have RAF textures.
Yes.
Digital models.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Or crazy changes to gameplay.
Crazy changes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, one thing I'm actually really looking to the optimization of the client. I'm running a fairly high spec PC, but you can still have like lag spikes and shit.
Oh absolutely.
And it's a fucking old game. I'm looking forward to be able to having like fucking 20 clients open at the same time.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And just like, oh, it's amazing. Just be,
I agree.
So I'm actually looking forward to them optimizing the client as long as it still keeps it intact, the actual game. But it should be like the way they presented it, the way they're gonna treat the data. You're still gonna have the same outcome. The data is just not gonna be going through the same process.
Right.
If you remember the water cooler def update, where they actually have an example of how it would work. How when you have an action, you have like hit, miss, whatever that can happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a different. It's still the same action. It's still the same values, but it's just a different process, like programming wise, that it goes through to give you the end result.
Right.
But I'm going to be curious to see when it gets out if it's going to be server side or client side based, the input lag and stuff like that. Can you def coil, or can you ice block a def coil? You should be able to do that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So stuff like that. If that shit, you'd be able to grounding totem stuff as well, and when it's being fired,
actually being in the air.
I'm so looking forward to low MS. Oh my god! Like it's so bad when we're playing on the. I mean, 100 MS is like our usual, like over here. So it's just like,
Oh God, I'm gonna miss my
Yeah.
17 MS. No.
Oh, I'm sure you'll have European servers.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're gonna be. That's right. You're moving. That's
Yeah,
right. You're moving North
yeah.
America. You mean for Northdale? Yeah.
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 Shit.
You can play with us.
Yeah.
Well, I
Definitely.
don't know if Melderon's gonna be playing. I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So let's change gears again. So we haven't talked about your other huge what you do. You're a content creator. So basically, you make class glides, you make theory crafting, and so what got you into content creation, and why? Just how did it start?
Well, in this case, it was fairly simple, I guess. The series got shut down. I was like,
Mm.
I just had to. I don't know. I needed an outlet. I was pissed.
I know I can feel that. That's when I started making
Yeah.
content too.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, I've always put some stuff on YouTube, like boss fights and shit, but never really, had a channel with a a character, a personality with that channel. There's a lot of channels on YouTube which is just like kind of, anonymous, and people put stuff on there and never really, interact or whatever. This was the first time I actually interacted with people and became involved within the community with a name and stuff like that. Actually, went to Reddit. I mean, I didn't go to Reddit when I was playing originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me either. Yeah.
Reddit wasn't back then, but
I mean, yeah, it was
even in
or
Canada,
forums or like, yeah.
yeah, I didn't really use that shit at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I got into creating content because of that, and there weren't a lot back then. There wasn't a lot of classic WoW stuff, so it was kind of grabs. You could just, I mean, there weren't that many discussion videos and guides. You did have some guides, of course, because it's an old game,
Right.
but not with the 2015,
Yep.
16 kind of standard. Because nowadays, even the smallest channel on YouTube is like Warner Brothers Studio back, So like the production value
Exactly.
now compared to 2006 is totally different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I just really, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. It's kind of just like a thing I did. Like, even the name OrcBit literally just comes from, I like orcs, like orc shaman, Satan and stuff. And then bit games, like old 8-bit and 16-bit shit. And I love that stuff.
That's
So
awesome.
I was just like, okay, here we go.
That's awesome.
Like that's
yeah.
actually literally like when your
Yeah.
symbol comes together in your videos. Like, ching. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like really fucking stupid, but I didn't really mind. I had no idea how to do anything. I still don't really know how to do YouTube. I just make a video and put it up there. I'm not huge into anything else surrounding all that stuff. It took me ages to even put in my real info, my account. I think I had 1,000 subs and stuff before I used the real email. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not huge on the business side of this, whatever you want. Professional side was called.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be business. I just really like working with vanilla and the information in the game, like sitting, especially doing my old class guys. I liked working extensively with one class and just really, feeling the love.
Yeah.
Because you can't really make a guide and just be like, yeah, well, this class sucks. Let me show you how to.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really work that way.
You
Yeah.
kind of have to like it as well. So
Yeah.
it's not just like, oh, I never played this class. Let's make a guide. You kind of have
Right.
to invest yourself.
Exactly.
And in order to actually give people a real perspective
Mhm.
on what to do, and also if you want people to listen to you, you can't just be, you do need to have some experience or at least some valid arguments for what you're doing. Otherwise, people are going to try out what you're saying, and it's going to be crap, and they're going to be pissed at you. So it's in your own best interest to do what you're doing the best way possible. So, yeah, I just like it, and I'm looking forward to getting back to regular videos when I'm moving and all this stuff.
And also, you're streaming. You stream as well, so that's another.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say, man, like your streams and your videos, they're one of the most just. It's very chill. It's very like just you can go there, hang out, and I don't know. It has this real genuine feel to it. Especially your videos, very genuine feel to it. It's like this is a guy who's passionate about the game, who loves, loves shamans, loves playing the game, loves Vanilla WoW, and you get that feel from all your videos, from your streaming. Just get this really like wholesome, just really down to earth. This is a guy who just loves Vanilla WoW, and that's what I love about your channel. That's what I love about you. That's what I love about your streaming. It's just this all wholesome feeling that you get. Yeah.
I'm trying to think how many times I've actually watched your shaman guides. It's probably like if you look at my history, it's like I've clicked on it so many different times.
Honestly, we've probably you've been a really big influence to Melderon and myself, just when it comes to making videos, and how we present ourselves, that kind of thing. And I think that's
humble to hear that, guy.
Well, it's the truth, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's amazing, the impact that people, you can have on people, and we've even seen that to ourselves a little bit, and it's just like, wow. But I think when you bring that to the table, when you bring that genuine passion, it just shows, it bleeds through. It really does. I mean, and that's the thing about it.
Yeah, it has its repercussions or whatever you want to call it. Because some people they come out and check it out and be, the fuck is this? This is fucking. But I'm not going to be the guy who's going to put on another personality or be like crazy hype. Yeah, guys, you ready for some classic? That's not me. Yeah. That's definitely not. And before I started doing anything remotely close to online entertainment, I was a musician, right? I was playing fairly huge gigs and stuff, and I wouldn't playing technical. Progressive death metal, right?
Nice.
So
awesome.
You couldn't. Well, you could, but if you wanted to pretend you were a rock star while on stage, it was kind of hard to make sure you were playing right. So I've just that mentality. I'm doing what I'm doing first, and then everything else, if there's room, jokes, and shits, giggle, whatever, it comes next. But I'm not gonna be. I'm not a guy who sits down and stream. And funny thing is, I've never really thought of myself as a streamer, because this is what most streamers do, and I can't do that, and I know I can't, because it's too exhausting for me to be something that I'm not. I mean, some people can do it, and they're actors and whatnot. They are really good at it. They can handle it, but I just can't do it.
I understand.
I'm not necessarily saying it's bad, but people just know. Have to know that going into my streams, that it's be like fucking Jeopardy in the back, and ooh, let's go, and it's not like that. It's
time to spin the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking classic WoW.
Yeah,
you can ask me anything. I'm talking to people, but I'm talking. I'm not. Right. I'm not saying like yelling or anything. I'm just talking and playing like you would if there was no camera. Right.
Exactly. But the good thing about that is like the genuine feeling that you get from it. You know what I mean? Like, like a lot of those streamers, they might be interesting and they might be flashy, they might catch your attention, but you get something else when you watch your stream. It's that genuine feeling, and that's something else that is very appealing, I think, to people.
Okay. Yeah. There are people out there who think that.
Absolutely do. I do. So,
but that's personally why I could never stream, and you hit the nail on the head. And most of it is actually, when I do content creation, it's me time. So when I make a video, like I'm making a video after we're done this, and I'm gonna put some time towards it. It's just like a cathartic. I don't know. I just sit there and I go through it and I do my thing. I'm not a performer. I never was, and I don't think I could. That's why I could never do streaming. But the fact that you're able to still do it is kind of cool. Because if that's the only way I could do it would be like you. Be like, okay, guys, we're gonna play today, and then that's it. Like I wouldn't be any kind of like anything additional. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not really a popular thing to do, because people will label you as either boring or whatever, but you just have to like tell yourself or ask yourself, do you want to do this today? I mean, I know it sounds kind of corny, but I'm not. I might not be the best streamer, but if I feel like streaming, then I do it.
Exactly.
I don't really care what people think. It doesn't have to be popular. It doesn't have to be whatever. I'm enjoying myself as long as there are some people watching and they enjoy themselves, and we can enjoy each other's company. And I mean, even I think a lot of the people who watch it are like that. I can have 200-300 people watching, and the chat will still be fairly, I'm not going to say not slow, but it's still easy to follow along.
Right.
And I think, just as you said, it speaks to a lot of people who like that more laid back kind of feeling, like just spamming the chat 24/7. Because I'm not playing a video game, streaming it so I can sit and read a chat all day.
Right, right.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read as much as I can, but
Hmm.
priority number one and priority two, and that
Exactly.
might not always resonate with people. And people are different and have different
Yep.
ways to be entertained. That's cool. It would be boring if everything was the same.
Are you not entertained? Yeah, and that's. I mean, honestly, man, and it's refreshing to hear that, and it really is, and it's like, everyone's different. Some people like the more fast-paced kind of thing, and it's awesome to be able to have that option because a lot of people like some of the streams that I watch, I'm like, wow, this is just too much for me, or I'm just like, or I'm trying to do something, or I'm playing as well, and I can
Yeah,
watch
it's
your
too
stream
much.
and kind of feel like it's just like, okay, it's like perfect. So
I mean,
yeah, I just
the
want to say
way
I'm a huge fan of it. I love it.
cool.
So yeah.
I mean, the way I like to watch streams as well is like I would imagine I'm in my studio right now. I have 3 computers. Sometimes I have 2 friends over just to play in this room, and it's kind of the same for me. If I put a stream on this monitor,
Mhm.
it's like having a friend next to you.
Yep.
I don't want a whole game show fucking,
Exactly.
taking
Yeah.
all the my focus. Or I'm
Mhm.
still playing a game over here, but I would like to have something. And I mean,
Right.
some people are like only watching the stream and don't want anything like. But I like to
Yeah.
play a game and then watch the stream on the side. Or
Yep.
I can't just sit and watch the stream, not do
Yeah.
anything.
No, that's
I
that's
mean,
what
for
Netflix
some
is
minutes
for.
I can, but
Yeah.
not for like hours.
Yeah. It's interesting though. It's interesting how certain, it's a phenomenon like now, like streaming, that some people, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying that like, some people just like tune on to streams like it's their favorite TV show, and that's, I mean, great for
Yeah,
them
and
if that's what they
it's
enjoy. Awesome, but it's just like it's amazing to me that that it's become that, and it's just it's cool. It's a cool thing. It's
it's cool.
also
It's
yeah,
like having
yeah,
channels, a lot of
exactly.
channels,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can choose which one you want to give money,
Yep.
which is amazing. You don't buy a TV whatever pack with
Hmm.
40 channels and you only watch 2 of them, but you pay for all 40. You can
Right.
go to Twitch and watch whatever you want, and you can actually still watch it without paying. But you're
Yeah.
like, I would like to subscribe or donate.
That's
It's
the awesome part about it.
freedom
Yeah.
in the hands of the consumer instead of being forced fed shit,
Yep.
and that's just great. And it gives room for variety. I mean, if it wouldn't be, if it was like, if you had to be signed up on
Hmm.
Twitch, if they had to like recruit you for a channel or whatever, you probably would have been forced to be like that.
Right.
So it's a great thing. It creates diversity.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know if we're getting off track from on the
No, no,
classics.
no. No, that's good. So what are some of your plans for the future with your channel, with everything, and
Oh yeah.
A one-handed gut. No, I'm just joking. The shaman one.
It's difficult for me to say because I do have a lot of plans, but
Mhm.
in the past when I've been like, yeah, this is it, and then stuff came in the way and I couldn't follow through. I kind of made a promise to myself that I wouldn't go out and boast about projects or say what I want to do, because it gives you a false feeling of fulfillment when you do it.
Mm.
I agree.
It makes it partly achieved, which is a lie, but psychologically that's how your brain works. So if you go out and tell all your friends about this great song that you're writing, but you're not quite done writing it,
Yeah.
you're not going to be as compelled to finishing it.
Right.
And I mean, I want to get back into like regular video uploads, like I did back in the day. I want to finish I'm currently working on a case for the Elemental Shaman, a video just talking about how to raid as an Elemental Shaman, raid footage, theory crafting, all the stuff that you need. But before that, I want to finish the Druid class guide.
Nice.
But I made one, and it was like the others, the ones I've made so far, and I don't like that format anymore. I don't know if you guys probably have the same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucked sometimes when you work a lot on some stuff and you're just not happy. You're not going to put it on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm
exactly.
I'm just not happy with the format I made before, especially not for hybrid classes. I'm doing the Druid right, and
I can't wait.
It's like putting in a whole class in a video, and I'm not a huge fan of really big videos.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be something that people, I mean, it's a guide, right? So it's people who are looking for help.
Yep.
And if we all can know this, going on YouTube and you have an issue like, how to turn on my computer, whatever. You go look for it, and you have a video, and the guy's talking about his dog and his grand and his all this
God
kind of
damn!
crap.
You're like, damn it! I can just fast forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the point with the solution?
Yeah.
I just like, keeping it clean, giving the people the information they need, presenting it in a manner that I can stand by, and I just felt like it didn't work out. And I mean, people can be like, oh, why are you not posting them? But I have to be able to look at it.
Yep.
Every day I open YouTube and stuff.
Absolutely. I feel like,
So there are a lot of things I've been meddling around with and trying and not really happy. And because I'm in a place where I'm moving, I'm traveling, all this stuff. So I never really had time to sit down and really figure out what I need to do in order to make it work. I just told myself, okay, when you get to Canada, you're in a new setting, you'll find out what works and take it from there, right?
It's a good way of looking at it.
The class guides are going to be the next thing. I do also have a lot of weird shit that I filmed last year when I got a press pass for Metal Festival.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Just because I had a friend, he wanted to come and it was sold out. And I just thought like, fuck it, I'm going to write them an email. So I wrote them an email, said like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I didn't even send them my channel or anything.
I'm a classic WoW YouTuber.
They gave me press pass and everything. It was great.
That's awesome, dude.
That's really
cool.
So
I gave my friend, I gave him my ticket, I press pass. And then we filmed a lot of weird shit. I went around interviewing people, just randomly asking them like, what do you think about Mr. Game Master Reviews changing his name? Just after I asked, what do you think about player or what, like totally weird shit. I have stuff like that. I also have a video special that I haven't finished yet. I probably should do that.
Nice.
I have a trip to London Comic Con.
Oh wow.
So I have that's the real footage. I have about 800 gigs of in-game footage.
Oh my god.
Waiting for.
Did you say 800 gigs?
800 gigs. I have everything from professions to shifting sands. Mount Quest for AQ, world bosses, a lot of world PvP, boss fights.
Yeah, Defcamp, you thought you had a lot of footage.
I know, right?
And I'm just piling on top of my.
Well, you guys heard it here first. OrcBit is gonna have a lot of work and a lot of stuff.
So
stay tuned.
It's not that I, people often think that he's run out of ideas.
Scott, you got too many.
I have plenty of ideas. I have plenty of footage. I just need.
I think some people need to realize that life gets in the way for us sometimes, even content creators, and you got to give us some time sometimes. And those people who are patient, thank you.
Yes, thank you a lot. And the people who leave, I'm sorry, but this is not my life. It's a part of my life. I wouldn't mind if it was a bigger part, but right now it's not a big part because there's a lot going on for me, and that's just life sometimes.
Well, dude, thank you for taking the time the fact that you have so much going on, you took the time to talk to us today. Thank you so much. We had an amazing time.
I'm glad to be here. I'm humbled that people approach me and ask me for stuff. So I'm always, you take the time out of your day to sit down, both of you record this, and ask me when I'm, suitable, what time works for me, even though we are in 9 hours different times. Difference, right? So as long as you keep doing that, I'm always going to be to come back. I don't mind. I love working with people who I can tell actually are genuine, because we know a lot of channels came to be after the announcement. Some really awesome ones, but someone like fucking Cancel 2.0. You can clearly see just riding the hype wave, and I don't have a huge problem with that, but it's hard to distinguish, for people to distinguish between the channels, which ones are the good ones and the bad ones. Of course, I'm not the judge of that, but me judging you, personally, I like you as one of your channels.
Thanks, man.
And see you guys going all the way, and I'm gonna be there on my little shaman.
Thanks, OrcBit. That means a lot to us, man. It really, really does, because it can be a very hair-raising thing, and a lot of people. I actually started the channel when you did, but it was a very, very cringy channel back then, and basically I was just uploading hey guys, I'm walking around the zone today, okay?
So this is Crystal Quiz, and
so
this is the Barons.
Exactly. That's basically all my content for the first year. So there's a steep learning curve.
dude, I can't even watch my old.
Yeah,
The videos.
it's so bad.
They're
It's
still up
so
there
bad,
though,
and-
for everyone to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hide.
I
Yeah. So
Hi, guys.
some quick housekeeping. I'm sorry. So basically, guys, all of OrcBit's links will be in the description. They're also under his name if you're watching this on YouTube. If you, so we're actually uploaded all the DefTalks onto SoundCloud. We're working on putting them onto other, like Google Play and Apple, but Apple's being really a pain. Google hasn't said yes or no yet. So basically, if you go to soundcloud.com/def_meltv, you can check out the DefTalks. This will be up there at some point. But yeah, please check out OrcBit stuff. All of his links will be in the description. He puts out some great content. He's a streamer. He has a Facebook page. He has a you have a Twitter. You have everything. So everything's right there.
I'm almost legit.
Yeah, almost. He's got everything.
I'm almost legit.
Yeah, we don't have a
Yeah,
Facebook yet.
almost
We need to do that. So
Dude, so the Facebook, the same as the Twitter in all this. If you ask me, I think on Facebook I have maybe 100, 200 likes.
Yeah, I don't even,
It's
yeah.
called, and Twitter is like 2,000 people. The people within this sphere are not that much into Facebook. I think. At least I've never.
I don't use. I stopped using Facebook.
No, I stopped using it too. Yeah.
It's just such a time sink, and it's just full of like idiocy, in my opinion. But that's just my.
And
personal
old
opinion.
people.
And
Yeah,
old
it's all
people.
old people now.
Look at my cat. So another real quick announcement, guys. We have a Patreon now as well. Patreon.com/def_meltv. If you like what we're doing, consider becoming a patron. No pressure, just something we.
Special thanks to Early Bird, to Discupulo, and to GP30 guys for being our first Patreons. Thank you so much.
B.
Awesome.
And Flozy
And
B.
Flozy B.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it means a lot, guys. We were trying to make this more of our thing, really. Because to have more time to do it, and it's awesome that people want to help us get to our goal. So thank you.
This is amazing to see. No, I
It
love-
is.
I love-
Yeah.
You guys, you deserve it. I love seeing content creators actually fucking doing a proper job and creating great stuff. So
Thank
if
you.
people watching, I don't know, never seen this before. If you only seen me, clicked on this because you saw the name or whatever, definitely check out these guys' stuff. They're the real deal.
Thanks,
we need
man.
we need more people like this.
Thanks, OrcBit. Means a lot to us, man. And same
Yeah.
for you. And if anybody in our community doesn't know who OrcBit is, get out from under a rock you're living and go check out OrcBit's channel. So.
All right, brother. Thanks for taking the time, man. It means everything to us, really.
Much appreciated. We should definitely talk again once.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm down.
US soil.
Yeah, that's right.
Come down to Philadelphia anytime, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in Toronto, you're not too far. But
Yeah,
So-
I'll be in New York next week.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, nice.
Soaking,
Yeah.
soaking up all the American stuff I can.
Oh God! If you need any pointers, let me know. I don't know if this is your first time, but
Cool.
stay away from the guns. I'm just joking.
Yeah. All right, guys. This is
All right.
Defcamp
And Melderon, and
OrcBit.
signing
signing
off.
off. See you guys.
Peace.